Okay, so that song comes out, and it becomes a huge song. And I mean, his first single was "California Love," which was a #1 hit.
That was big.
"All Eyes on Me," double album, #1 album. I believe it goes diamond after a certain amount of time.
He wrote all that within less than a month. That's how fast.
Great album.
That's how fast he was writing.
My favorite Tupac album, with Machiavelli being #2. But an absolute brilliant album.
All Eyes on Me, yeah.
And he's on fire at this point. And the media isn't helping either. I remember I interviewed Tretch. He blamed the East Coast, West Coast beef on that Vibe cover.
Yes, of course.
Because you have Biggie and Diddy on the cover, and it said East versus West. That was the first time it was coined that way. Before then, it was, Death Row versus Bad Boy. It was Suge versus Diddy. It was Pac versus Biggie. It was,
yeah.
Whoever's in the crew, fuck you too. But it was never an entire coast of people until Vibe said, that's what this is.
But it really wasn't a coastal thing. It was just two companies. It was Death Row.
That's it.
And Bad Boys. 2 millionaire CEOs promoting this. And sales of the records went off the chart. Yeah. Everybody was buying it. But that's what they wanted. The media fabricated that stuff.
Well, I spoke to someone that was close to Pac, and he said at one point, Afeni pulled him aside and said, this East Coast, West Coast beef is just like COINTELPRO.
It is.
And what was happening with the East Coast and West Coast Black Panthers. It's the exact same thing, and it's having the same effect. And that's when Pac realized what was happening on a macro level. That's when he reached out to speak to Nas, and he started, the whole One Nation project that never, was finished. And he was making plans to try to, fix things with Biggie. If it was fixable.
If he'd have left Death Row, that's what would have happened. Unfortunately, he was in that environment, and he thought he had to participate in this type of nonsense to please these guys. We're talking about somebody who's associated with gangs. Pac, you ain't associated with no gang. You speaking for the people. Your words touch the souls of people all over the world.
Well, the beef between Bad Boy and Death Row was heating up. There was a rumor that Diddy had put a bounty on Death Row chains. At one point, one of the guys from Death Row got jumped by a bunch of Southside Compton Crips. They tried to take his chain. They may not have taken it. I mean, this story's a little bit fuzzy. And there was a lot of friction between Southside Crips, Mob Piru, because, and this part's a little hazy, because I remember I interviewed Keefe D. Diddy didn't necessarily put a bunch of Southside Crips on payroll, but if they had a show in L.A., he would give them each like 100 tickets.
Yeah, well,
so they would all show up, so it looked like the Southside Crips were like doing security for Bad Boy, but they weren't exactly doing it, but he was associating himself and playing street politics.
Yeah, well, he was giving them 1,000. They'd all come out. They just got out of jail, half of them.
Yeah.
And you want to hang around stars and rappers, and I give you $1,000. Watch my back.
Right. There you go.